So that's a topic very close to my heart. I had an opportunity to chair American Society of Clinical Oncology task force focused on this topic. And we recently had a published in JCO research statement from ASCO in this regard. What happens, we do feel that a lot of patients who could benefit from the clinical trials or novel agents are unable to do so because of the locations. They frequently live far away from the treatment center. The issues, there are multiple barriers, but one of the major issues is really regulatory issue. Who needs to be involved in the study and understanding the study. And in this guidelines, which were actually done with the input of our colleagues from FDA as well, we are trying to really establish the criteria when the investigators needs to be in 1570 form, so-called Form 1572, and really know the study versus practitioners who are regular clinics which can perform elements of care closer to where patients live. So you can imagine a situation that I may have a patient on a clinical trial, which is being seen at Mayo Clinic where I practice, and maybe I'll do parts of elements of care, maybe infusion of experimental agent. But the physical examination a week later for safety or CBC and some lab work really can be done locally, so the patient doesn't have to travel sometimes hundreds of miles to go back and be on a clinical trial. So it is a risk-averse field. This guidance is very important because it will help us to overcome this regulatory barrier and maybe interpretation of regulation barrier to how to decentralize trials. It's one of those steps in a longer strategy of really increasing patients' access to clinical trials. And I would encourage everybody to read this ASCO statement. Really, as you're thinking about your trials, the new trials which are designed, think about how many of those elements of the trials could be decentralized and performed locally rather than the center to minimize the burden for patients.